This is Two Shy Guys a Mile High. Yo, we back again. It's Two Shy Guys a Mile High. We in here with P-Wil.
I'll dig.
WB, come fly with me.
Hey, now this episode...
That's gonna be the new tagline for real.
See, I want to say P-Wil, but I don't want to take your name too, man.
Nah, I'm just gonna leave it for WB. Come
Hey,
fly
real.
with me. No bird, man, because I'm gonna get you paid, baby.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, now, welcome back. Two Shy Guys a Mile High. We're going to be talking about... Let's just go recap the last episode. Last episode, we talked about change and what it means to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we went over a couple of situations talking about change. Let's just do a little recap.
So we talked about we defined it in our own terms. And so, I mean, it's really going from one state to another. I think that's what I'd said as a definition. But, I mean, you guys can go back and listen to it again. Hopefully you've listened to all of our episodes up until now. So please go back and visit that episode.
But today we want to make a branch off that. We want to build off of change, and we're gonna go into what we feel is the second part of change, and is the adaptation portion. How do you adapt to situations? What does adaptation mean to you?
For me, WB, adaptation means to using what you learn to adjust to different circumstances or an environment. So how do you take your past knowledge to apply to your current, whatever going on, to make sure that you can be successful in any atmosphere or anywhere you are, whether it be at work, outside work, any situation, so and anywhere.
For real. I mean, I think you said the key word there, adjusting, right? So looking at the circumstances for what it is, hopefully taking emotion out of that, because sometimes you can be very emotional in making that assumption, like I need to adjust. It could just be it's tough now, and you need to stay the course. But adapting, I think, like you said, I don't want to take any luster away from that, but just really adjusting kind of on the fly, right? Like just saying, I think this situation was one way. I think I should stay the course, but let me just kind of tweak a little bit here. Let me just take a little bit of a lesson here but keep moving forward on the same trajectory, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different than change, but it's a little more, I think, it's tweaky, right? It's just staying the course. It's tweaky.
We can tell you from Chicago.
It's tweaky. I mean, it's tweaky. You know,
But I was going to say it's adjusting to a different condition or becoming comfortable in a new or adverse situation. That's what I would say for adjusting or adapting. See, I'm already calling it adjusting. But adapting is just being flexible, being able to alter yourself, or being able to switch your mindset up to become comfortable in a different situation or adverse situation. It could be adverse or it could be a good situation.
And being agile about it, though. I think that's a different, because change is more long term. You know, it takes a little more evolution, I think. And
Putting the lean principles in there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but
you got that Six Sigma.
But honestly, like just really looking at subsections of it instead of the whole piece of it, right?
I think
chopping it down a little bit.
In some atmosphere, I also think that through change, you learn how to adapt. Without the change, you don't know how to adapt at all in terms of doing anything. So it's the micro steps that help get you to be able to adapt. And I think that we are two shy guys. I'm a mile high. And we all are here in Seattle, Washington. So we could also just get into some our own personal, how we adapted in terms of how we even got to this place in the first place.
That's a good segue.
Yeah. Go ahead. I mean, so I'm in the middle here.
Man, I would just talk about me personally, just coming from Chicago, right after college. And it was like, I was in college, and I remember this day. This was just a crazy day. So I'm still in DeKalb, Illinois. Graduated the prior year in December. So I'm just so I'm sitting in my apartment room, me and my frat brothers. So I'm just downstairs, we chilling, and I'm actually moving back home at this point. I got my family owns a apartment complex with a mother-in-law. Nice. So I'm like, okay, I'm moving back home. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be a big step for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm out in the real world. And it's the day I'm moving home. My pops just came up with the trailer. And he's like, all right, let's go start packing your stuff up. So my homie, he's going to move into the crib. So we just going to do a swap. on the fly, I get a call. And then like I'm downstairs in my crib, and then I got bad signal. I got Sprint. I got Sprint. So I'm like, man, hold on, I got a call. I don't even know this area code. So I'm like, okay, let me run upstairs, take this call. So I'm on the phone. I'm like, okay. And then my homie's looking at me. I'm like, yes. My voice changed a little bit. I'm like, yes. Okay, yes. Great. Sounds great. So I get a call from the job that I'm at now, and they like, yeah, basically, you know what I'm saying, we want to offer you this job. You did well on your interview. Wow. We want to offer this job on the spot. So I'm just like, man, at that moment of time, like, I'm already in the process of moving to the crib, moving back home to Chicago.
Wow.
Then I get this call, and they like, you know what I'm saying, do you want this position? You can take time to think about it. And I'm just like, I got to make this change right on the fly.
And that was the first date in history that somebody from the Bears actually caught a Hail Mary. I'm just throwing it out because they cheated.
Hey, what happened? What happened last week?
All right, but back to the story.
But back to it. But just that. You know what I'm saying? And then my homie's like, man, what's going on with that? Because you know what I'm saying, I'm usually like, you know what I'm saying, I'm usually cool, calm, collected. But I heard this big opportunity. I'm like, I gotta take this. Wow. I don't know what's gonna happen.
And life changing, man. Life changing.
But I'm able to. But being able to understand that change is happening, I'm able to make that adaptation right on the fly. And I'm like, yeah, I want to take that opportunity right there.
Wow. That
and it was like Seattle, Washington. Man. I know my whole family's here. All my friends is here. But I can, you know what I'm saying? I'm a personal person. I can find people of like-mindedness wherever I go because I feel like I know myself. And then, you know what I'm saying? I'm understandable enough. And I'm, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm diligent enough to be able to find people like-minded. So
that's interesting because the fact that you have a similar story, that's so
man,
crazy.
Mine is kind of similar too. It's not yours was was definitely.
But bro,
I didn't even know that though.
Mine is it's on the.
Me and my homies talk about that all the time, bro. Me and my homies talk about that all the time. It's just like, bro, the day I'm moving out, the day I'm going to the crib, I get this call, changed my life.
For real. But if you're not who you are at that moment in your life, you might have just been like, nah, I'm comfortable here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go back to the crib. Because think about that. You got your son there at that point, you know what I'm saying? And so that's a big factor for you of taking that risk and taking that and really adapting and saying, son, look, I was about to be back home. You know, I just finished school. We had to plan, but this happened. So now we got to audible. Hey. And now
Bears.
The things that
Omaha.
But really, like, but stand on that point though, because the things that you have experienced now and what you've come to know and what you've come to grow to love here in Seattle, right? Like we would not be doing this right now if that decision wasn't made.
There's probably
at that point
those major junctions in life that God be dropping places in front of us. It's a big fork of the road that you need to make a decision, and that was probably one of the game-breaking decisions.
We're not here right now. Literally, we're not here right now. There is no two shot guys in my life. It's just not. It's not even a glimmer of a thought because. Like the similar situation. Like I think I was telling y'all before, we had started up the cast. I was doing music. I mean, I just finished my electrical engineering degree, and it was like the downturn. It was like 2004, like right around like the presidential candidate election, kind of like what's happening right now. And then a lot of people weren't, giving out jobs. I mean, I got my double E degree. You know what I'm saying? African American man. What's up? I'm decent. Graduated. Kept my nose clean. You know what I'm saying? I made some connections. It was just there was no jobs like that in Chicago. I mean, had it all mapped out. I was gonna get my job in Chicago. Was gonna, stay home with my mom, stack money, stack bread. I'm gonna start this music thing up. Boom, my little group, we doing our thing. 220, we doing our thing. Second to none, shout out. We doing our thing, and then boom, like 3 months in. I mean, we doing shows. I'm selling beats or whatever, and I'm thinking I'm gonna do that. I get the call from the beat. They like, we really liked you. We wanna offer you this opportunity. You know what I'm saying? At top 2 Fortune company in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm gonna do? I don't know what the starving artist gonna do. You know what I'm saying? But I always knew that I could come back to it and come back to something. And man, that decision changed my life. I'm my only child. I'm about to go 200 miles over here with nobody. It's just me.
Yeah.
Now I got a family, man. You know what I'm saying? And fatherhood is not possible for me.
You got those blessings, man.
If I don't make that choice and adapt, like I could have been comfortable and stayed there. Yeah. But there is no 2 shy guys a mile high.
But I remember somebody saying that, you know what I'm saying, this is a plan that's above us all. So like God got a plan for us, man, and then it's just falling into place.
For real.
My situation is very similar as well. I tweaked in my academic years when I was an electrical engineer. Really wasn't putting in the time that was required to be good in that field. Obviously, the person next to me, one of the shy guys, did that, but I had to change and adapt and convert my degree into an industrial engineering degree. So I did that, and I really started taking school seriously, started going to class and performing. Blessed enough where I have people in my life put in good words for me and do good work at the company that I work in today to help me get an internship. And then from the internship, I came back to school for one last semester, was couch surfing for that semester, was slumming it and bumming it. And then at the time, I didn't have any job offers, and I was getting real sad because I'm like, man, everybody over here winning, talking about what company you going to. I'm like, man, I don't even have a job. Wow. So I had an interview. I did the interview for the company. I felt like it went well, but didn't hear anything, and I'm just waiting. And then I got the same call too. But I say it's kind of similar because was thinking that if I got to go back home, and I don't want to do that, and I feel like that's taking the L and hustling backwards, not knowing that guy had a plan for me, and that wasn't even an option. I was going to make it. But at the same time, I also have to recognize that that's the wrong mentality to have, too, about going back home. It's not necessarily about admitting defeat. You just have to change and adapt to your current situation and figure out how to make yourself get through. So that was over 11 years ago. Came out here to Seattle, working for 11 years. So, and within that time, I've had different various job roles and learning how to adapt to that as well, too. So going from new positions and new roles where I have to go from doing things like time studies to doing things more code-based, more analytics, pulling data from back-end systems, visualizing that information. So changing and adapt to that environment. Case in point, recently, I'm in a new job role where I'm supposed to be automating a bunch of my processes, but my real full-time job is on this great project that I really can't talk about too much to finer details that's going to help change the way we do things in business, but it requires a lot more of my time. So I'm leaving my other role kind of hanging a little bit, and I'm like, man, I feel bad for my teammate that I'm not able to put in the effort, but because this new role, I have to change and adapt because it's requiring like 12 hours a day, 10 to 12 minimum. And different people, different regions, different countries, different states. There's a lot of coordination behind it. So I had to learn to adapt in that role too, to make sure that I'm good at work and outside of work. Because if I'm working 10, 12 hours a day, I also have to come home to my wife and make sure I'm managing and adapting to my new circumstances in marriage. But we can talk about that a little bit later. So it's a big total sum. It's just managing all of that.
One thing I do want to say, hey, congratulations to you, brother. I've been hearing some real good things about the work that you've been putting in for some legitimate players, you know what I'm saying? And then, just as well, just sharing minds as well. Just, I was coming in and just being into the situation, being into work, new environment, just learning. So the first couple of years, like how you just said, how long you were out here. I've been out here for 7 years. The time's flying, man. The first couple of years, I wanted to get in there and understand like what my job is, the RAA, what actual roles I'm supposed to do. What's my statement of work? How do I excel at this? Because I'm used to being able to put my stuff forward and being able to excel in the situation. And I understand you talking about your new role in this. Me as myself, I experienced being in a new role at the beginning of this year. So it's just about learning to adapt because I'm just used to doing my work, you know what I'm saying, staying into my personal self and then just getting my work done so I can execute and get, you know what I'm saying, exemplary remarks on my things that I do. Because, you know what I'm saying,
more of a leadership role.
Yeah. And then now just switching into a point where they're looking up to me as the leader of the group and mentor and stuff. So being able to delegate my time a different way, not saying that I need to be able to do all of this stuff now to excel. I'm trying to build other people so they can do the same thing that I'm doing. So I'm leading people now.
You adapted your skill set to a different level of learning, right? So now you're going from just, okay, give me the work to, okay, I understand what work needs to get done. Let me go get the players on my team that I know can handle the work. Here you go. And so you've adapted because you've learned, right, what the role entails, and then you've adapted it to your style now. And they see that leadership in you, and they gave you that lead role. They said, look, we want you to come bring this fresh perspective. We've seen that you've been able to do the things that we've asked you to do. Now we want you to be a leader
and then instruct and tell and mentor and build people up to do the same thing with the vision that you've been providing. So it's just
adapting to that is it's kind of weird because I'm not the most outspoken guy about my talents or what I do or what I put on and my grind. But when people come to you and legitimately look up to you, you kind of get taken back a breath a little bit. Like, what do they see in me? Because sometimes it's hard to see that in yourself. So it's like, I can't believe this.
That you're owning
it's humbling
the thing.
experience.
But the thing
is
you understand that it's change, but you're able to be yourself in the situation. So it's like you don't have to alter how you are as a person because you're able to be anybody's able to adapt to being around you and your presence. So I don't necessarily have to fit in or be the same type of person that the people that I'm surrounded by, but they learn from me as well as I learn from them, and we can excel and be able to produce great stuff that we're producing within our business.
No, great segue. And,
then you also had a big change as well. Huge. And how did you adapt to your new situation and your new?
Man. Woo! All right, I just had the groundwork, man, because this. Woo! All right.
You put in some hours.
I mean, you talking 60.
It's serious when this man be taking off his glasses.
Man, because this is really
because
take
that preacher rag out too.
You silly. No, because y'all hit on just very key points, man, and I really want our listeners to hear just why that's important and why you have to be flexible and be able to adapt. Because if I personally didn't do that and you guys didn't do what you just talked about in your roles, like I wouldn't have been able to make the jump that I did. I went from aerospace straight to the tech industry after 13 years of being in the aerospace industry. It's crazy. It's a different world. But I knew I had to make that change, right? I knew I had to do that because I got to a point in my career where I felt like I wasn't able to adapt to their culture, right? Like their culture was different. I mean, great company, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have been out here if it wasn't for them. I always give, kudos to them. But it was just, I had exhausted my, kind of my trajectory there. And it wasn't on them. It wasn't on me. It was just, that wasn't the great cultural fit for me.
Going into two separate directions.
Right.
But you understand both of y'all going forward, but it's just two separate ways. It's a fork in the road at some point.
Exactly. And so what happened was I went from actually having a 7-minute commute, each way pretty much to 45 each way. Plus, I took on a senior program manager role, right, to a senior leadership position. So they saw something there. So I had to take that understanding and take that leap and figure it out, right? And so 15 months in, I had to be who I am. And I had to learn that that's what they want from me. They want me to come in and be who I am as a leader. They see that as a servant leader. And so now I'm there. If it sucks because now I have a different commute, but at the same time, I've adapted to the new role and I've adapted to the new responsibilities, and I own that. And it is an honor. Like when somebody comes up to you and say, "Hey, Mr. Bradford, Mr. Howard, whatever," you know what I'm saying? Yo, it's a true honor because now they come to you as an expert, as a subject matter expert. They see that you have value, and they want to converse with you and figure out how they can go to that next level. And just like this podcast that we are putting on, we want to help you guys go to that next level. So just take this advice that we
want y'all to hit y'all ultra instinct in life. We are all Dragon Ball Z fans. We like the show, so we just gotta keep beating up Jiren, get slapped in the face by adversity and everything in life to help level yourself up to be able to adapt it, so we can start flexing out here.
For real,
Dragon Ball Super, man.
Oh my bad.
Hey, no.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No, I'll just mess with you, man.
Put some respect on it.
Put some respect on it, but also, I know we talked about our roles and how we got out here. But you just had a big change in your life, man. How are you adapting to that?
Man, I'm adapting. It's a daily hustle, a daily struggle. It's very humbling, and it's all positive. It's all positive.
How long you been married?
Less than a year.
That's a fair.
Yeah, less than a year. So I still got my training wheels on.
Yeah.
And I would say those words, and I want to say it in the most positive manner that I can because I was talking to my mentor yesterday. Relationships in general, you're always going to have tension, like two hands connected and pulling apart. You're always going to have tension. So just managing that in life is just very important. And in terms of adapting, it's been great because she's pushed me in terms of trying to figure out who I am called here to be, in terms of being a leader, and in terms of being a godly man, in terms of being a husband, a provider, a protector, all those roles that I need to be fulfilling. She's pushing me to help get to those levels. It makes me move different. I know, Al, you got kids. That is a whole different type of thing that you have to adapt to.
Yes,
But I know right now,
Yeah.
my mentality is like I at first need to adapt to our whole marriage, our whole situation before we even prepared to take that next step, because my mindset is already shifted where I am thinking a lot more for two than one. Any decision I make, it affects the whole total environment. It doesn't just affect me anymore.
Right.
And I know there's going to be women that probably listen to the podcast and be like, you should have always been thinking about us. But no, like it really clicked once I made that covenant under God with the audience, with my family and friends in front of me. It changed my mindset. Look, you put on and you did this in public under God and all these people, you better come through. Ain't no being wishy-washy.
It's a different level of responsibility.
It's a different level of responsibility.
You hit it, and you hit it. Just like fatherhood, too. Just like fatherhood, right? And like I said, you have to have that mind shift. Like when she first said, hey, we having a baby. It was, oh. Well, I knew it could happen, yeah. You know, I mean, we all know what happens, but when she told me, like, I think literally lickety split. It was like, oh, okay, I can't be the same guy. Not that I'm not a good dude, but I got to figure out what am I doing, what the gaps at right now, because I don't want my kids to come into this and not get the best of me, right? Mm-hmm. So I had to look inside. I had to really dig deep. And then the changes had to come from within, because that's where you can say you want to do all day. Somebody can tell you need to change, but if you don't feel it in your spirit, or something doesn't tell you, okay, enough is enough, you can't do that. And now adapting as a father, you know, I see y'all less now, right? I mean, before I was hoop game all the time. What's up, y'all? I see y'all in a couple hours. Now it's like, I gotta take my son to soccer, but I'm gonna holler at you afterwards. Okay, your schedule cool? No. So we've had to adjust a lot and adapt to our circumstances now that they've changed. But we still here, two shy guys a mile high.
Here
for real, two shy guys a mile high.
Two shy guys a mile high.
Yeah, because even to go back to even getting to the whole marriage standpoint, I had to adapt to having my wife as my girlfriend. Like, we were in different states. She's down there in Florida. I'm out here in Washington. Then I had to adapt to her moving to Seattle. That was the first time I've ever lived with a woman in life. So we got to adapt to that whole environment. Then we got to adapt to being engaged. And when you engage, we got married, so you have to plan a wedding. And if you don't adapt to that, boy, you ain't gonna make it. But mine was good for I would say about 90% of it was great. There's, everybody's some one-off moments, but for the most part, mine was straight. It was great. It was a beautiful thing. But I was ready for it to be over so I can get back to doing things that we wanted to do with our lives. And then right now, just going through the things of just adapting to being a husband. So it's just constant adaptation to make things work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I feel that, man, and I want to also branch off what you were saying about fatherhood. It's just because it hits differently, and it changed me from the point of perspective when I had my son, because I had him back when I was in high school. I was going into 18 years old, and then being able to I feel like I grew up quick. And I had to adapt and be like, okay, you got somebody looking up to you now. You got to make some stuff happen, and you got to be focused. Because like my first years in college, I wasn't doing well because I was thinking about it too much. I'm like, okay, I got to get home. I got to be able to provide for mine. You know what I'm saying? I could get back, but I'm like, I had to take that time to think to myself, like, man, what are you doing? You got somebody looking up to you. I need to grind and get to where I need to be to provide for somebody else. Somebody's looking up to me. Somebody's like telling me, like, okay, I got to get it. And, you know what I'm saying? That's my mindset. So being able to, and then up to the point now where he's a teenager now. He's growing up. So having to adapt my life to being around a teenager now, because I had him out here this whole summer, and it was, a great experience. And then, it's just good having him out here because I've been away so long because I just talked about it earlier. I took this new position in a new area. So I had to move 1,700 miles away from my son. But I wanted to instill in him like, hey, I'm out here doing this for you so we can be prosperous later on, and I'm trying to give you this blueprint so you don't have to go through the same things that I went through, so that you don't have to adapt the ways I had to adapt.
Right, blueprint. You said it right there, the blueprint.
The blueprint.
And that's the premise.
And the thing with that, as well as being, and he's living and growing up in Chicago right now at a young age, and just the stuff that's going on there, man, it's just... Yeah. That's a black teenager in Chicago, man, and it's just like I wanted him to be out here and see a different side of life and view different experiences out here because it's a different thing about teaching a black person how to be a man at the point where everything's changing. Because I know he's a change.
That's a bar. That's a bar right there.
He's going through his, growing up. So, you know what I'm saying, hitting the puberty, getting, elevating his mindset, going into high school soon, in the 8th grade, going into high school. That's a new change for him. And I want to be able to give him this blueprint that I went through, because I know he views me as, he knows I'm his father and I'm that prominent figure, but also being able to learn because he sees me do these things and he sees me execute on this level. So he knows, like, okay, he was out here doing work. I need to at least be able to do some work as well. And then another thing that I wrote down was just like embracing your children's interests is another thing that, because, like, I don't want to say every man is like this, but me personally, I was like this, wanting him to be doing everything that I've done before. Like, I play football. I want my son to play football. Or I play basketball all the time. I want him to play basketball. And they might not always want to do that. So being able to adapt to their mind frame and how they think, because my son is like an artist. And I appreciate that because, like, I seen him one day. He's like, Dad, can you buy me some mechanical pencils? He's in here drawing a whole comic book.
Oh, yeah, you showed me that.
Ooh, and it's like, he has the lines for it. Like, everybody, the figures are the same in each picture. Wow. They all have, like, dialogue in it that makes sense. And I'm just seeing, like, from this part of
you got to cultivate that. And I think just you having the right mindset of knowing that this person in my life, my son, has different skills and talents that probably are within inside of you, but they're just more magnified right now, and you just have to cultivate that.
You hear the guy,
instead of other people who are at games talk about, hey man, I'm cheering for Johnny. What's going on? They're playing for themselves because they didn't get to the league, and they trying to get their son to the league. But you just got to let that go and let that person be what God has cultivate.
Sometimes it works out like that. Sometimes it's different. But I just appreciate, and I just want to sit back and understand, like, hey, I appreciate what you're doing as long as you're excelling and giving your all in any situation.
That support. I'm here to guide you through the situation that you deem is best for you at this time. Now, if it's going down, like he said, I just want to be, I don't know, basket weaver. If that's what he wants to do, what support do you need to be the best at that?
Right.
What can I do? I mean, that's an extreme example, right? But if he wants to do, an artist, he want to be an artiste. Why not? He can still play football, but if that's his passion as an artiste, all right, he could be the first, Wilson, artist rivaling Van Gogh. I don't know. But
anything.
The sky's the limit, man.
That's what I'm saying. But we not here though, and we always, man. The ancestors, bro.
Yeah.
If it's not for them, then we're not here doing this.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And so I had some notes that I wrote as well that I looked up.
So we're gonna start talking about the Black history figures right now.
Yeah, I think. Because we can go on this one, man. I know we can really go deep on this one.
We always want to give it up, and always recognize historical or right now a prominent black figure in Black history. We always want to talk about at least somebody that's prominent to us, and it can be anybody. I know we all got somebody we want to talk about. So I know WB, Robert Smalls.
Robert Smalls, man. This is a black man that adapted. Let me break out my little notes to give y'all the lowdown. So I give this man the justice he deserves. So he's a black man born into slavery on May 13th, 1862. That's May 13th, very special day. My sister was born on that day. But let's talk about Robert. He freed himself and his family from slavery. How he did this? We got to share this information. He commandeered a Confederate ship. Basically, he went on there and deboed it and stole it. Then he was able to sail through Confederate waters. He handed the ship over to the Union after he was able to get it to the other side of the water. And then he was also very influential in President Lincoln allowing black men in the military. So after the military's over, he hands over the ship. He gets cashed out. So he used that cash and he purchased the former owner's house. So he got the house that he bought back that he used to work for. And you know what? He had enough grace to allow the slave master's wife to come back and live in that house before she died.
Wow.
That's grace.
Man, that's just been how we've always come through, right? But just having I think that grace, man. And I mean, you really led into something speaking about grace. Because the person that I was looking at, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Richard Allen, man, was a minister, educated writer, and one of America's most active and influential black leaders. In 1794, he founded the African Methodist Episcopal Church, the first independent black denomination in the United States. And he opened his first AME church in 1794 in Philadelphia. I'm like, wow, like that's, you definitely got to adapt in some things back then to be the first to open up a church that really is kind of digging deeper into the Bible from that perspective, right? And so, how do you do that in 1700s when slavery is just rampant?
You know my dad attends a church, it's an AME church in Denver.
There it is, man. So it goes deep. It goes deep, man. So shout out, man, to Mr. Allen on that one. Richard Allen.
Hey, I don't even know how to top that, but I was talking about Madam C.J. Walker. I mean, we already know she was born into a cotton plantation, Louisiana, and she became wealthy after inventing a line of African American hair care products. So,
nice.
You know what I'm saying? Being able to adapt and promote yourself and do something that helps, you know what I'm saying, helps your people flourish, being able to, you know what I'm saying, self-made, self-paid.
Shout out to Madam C.J. Walker. Without her, y'all edges would look terrible.
Now they laid.
Right. Baby hairs wouldn't lay down.
Hey, now they laid.
They laid.
But no, let's take us home, man, because I know we could definitely get on it, man. Just a couple of gems or a gem or two from each, man. All
right, I'll do that. But we always like to end the show talking about defining what is the actual definition of adapting. We always like to look at the dictionary, but adapting, to make suitable to requirements or conditions, to adjust or modify fittingly. So I think we were right on point with that.
Yeah. Fittingly, though.
We stay on point like Stacey Adams.
Hey, this Two Shot Guys a Mile High.
All right, we go.
We out.
Oh, God.